Howdy, howdy, folks. Once again, this is Donnie, and today I thought I'd do a video about computer security, but one that has nothing to do with what operating system you're using, what technology you're using, or anything like that. I'm just looking at the human aspect of it. And this is what we in the security field like to refer to as securing the human. In other words, we want to train humans so that they will not do something dumb. And of course, if you've been in the computer field for a while, you probably know about phishing and malware, things like that. Those are little tricks that attackers or hackers can do to try to trick a human into doing something really, really dumb that would either compromise the machine or compromise his own data or whatever else, right? But one of the aspects that I don't think really gets enough attention is avoiding the online scams. And yeah, there's some mention made of that stuff, but what I want to look at today is these online businesses that just look totally legit. They look like they're just out there providing a really great service, but they're really scams. Now, some of these services, it's obvious they're scams. Like multiply your Bitcoins. And so how to multiply your Bitcoins 100-fold in a day, pay 0.03 Bitcoin today and get 3 Bitcoins in 24 hours. And then they have the deposit address down there at the bottom where you can send your 0.03 Bitcoin. And this is the type of thing where you look at it and say, yeah, right, who is out there falling for that, right? I mean, it's just so obvious. And then you have things like this. Victoria Hearts. This is an international bride service. And it's based apparently in Ukraine because even though there are a couple of girls there from Russia that I've seen, and I saw one from Poland, 99.9% of the ladies here are in Ukraine. And you look through all this, you can look at the profiles, and they're all totally smoking hot, right? Just smoking hot ladies wanting a guy. You know, they're wanting to hook up with a single guy, and most of them, they're wanting to get married, or so they say. They want to get married, right? Now, and then to further, add to the aura of legitimacy, they have things like this, okay, where you go in and you have to fill out an ID confirmation in order to directly communicate with the girls, okay? But, I mean, you can communicate with them before you do the ID confirmation, but you're not going to be communicating with them directly. You're going to be communicating with them through this website, or at least they say you're communicating with them, okay? I'll get to that in a moment, okay? But anyway, the point is, this all looks totally legit. It looks like a totally legitimate business here that they're running. But when you check into it, when you investigate, you find that it's nothing but a total scam, right? And before we get into how I know that it's a total scam, I would like to mention a little bit about why guys are falling for this, okay? And I don't want to get too personal here, but just to make the point, just to illustrate about why there's so many guys who fall for this, I will tell you that I'm a 60-year-old lifelong bachelor, and by a strange twist of fate, I got stuck living in a part of the United States where dating opportunities do not exist. This place where I live is so bad that even if you're a young, relatively good-looking guy, as I was when I first moved here in 1989, you are going to be totally frustrated with the place because every girl you meet around here who is intelligent, who has good morals, and who has her head screwed on straight is already hooked up with somebody else, okay? You're not going to get a girl around here, okay? Well, maybe you could because there are some girls around here who don't meet those 3 criteria. Some of them don't meet any of those 3 criteria. But even they have guys competing for them. It's so bad. And I don't mean to make this about myself because I'm far from being the only one in this situation, because there are other places in the United States like this, and even in places where there are plenty of girls, a lot of them are so focused on building a career that they're really not interested in hooking up with a guy, right? So that's a source of frustration. And it gets worse as you get older. It gets worse for guys as they get older because, they might get divorced, they might be widowed, and they find themselves having a really hard time getting back into the dating scene. So they find websites like this and they say, oh yeah, great, and they actually fall for it. And yeah, the guys, they just the hormones, even at an advanced age, in their 60s, the hormones are still there, And so the guys tend to lose their sense of judgment, and they do foolish things like spending tons of money on a Russian or Ukrainian or Asian or whatever else type of international bride site. So how is it then that these guys are finding these sites? Well, if they're of a mind to, I suppose that they could, do a Google search or DuckDuckGo search or whatever, right? And find the sites like that. But I would imagine that probably most of them find the sites via advertising. And the way I found this particular site is because I've played around a little bit with these crypto coin faucets. And what a crypto coin faucet is, it's just a site where you can go to, click on a few links, complete a few CAPTCHA puzzles, and gets awarded some crypto coin. Now, these faucet sites themselves, for the most part, are legitimate, right? And because, I actually have made a little bit of cryptocurrency, from these different sites, from these different faucets. But what's not always so legitimate is the advertising. Now, a lot of it is, probably most of it is, and there are some of these faucets, they'll have advertising from big name companies like IBM or Walmart or what have you. Some of them, they can do some geolocating, they can tell where you are, and so they'll show you ads from legitimate local businesses, like I see a lot from local car dealers, for example. But there are some other advertisements which probably aren't so legitimate. So, like this one here, do you want to flirt with Russian girls? Chat with dazzling Russian ladies online. Oh yeah, looks good, right? And then this, Russian girls are exciting. The hottest Russian singles are looking for new partners, and so on and so forth. And then you've got this one, which leads to that Victoria Hearts site that I just showed you, okay? So our gorgeous Russian and Ukrainian single ladies want to meet older gentlemen. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's the hook. So if you're an older guy like me, that's the hook. Okay. So are you at least 30 years old? Well, yeah, double that. So you can go in there and create a profile. And I just went ahead and did it. I wanted to investigate this. I wanted to see, what I could find out about it, right? So I made the profile, and it's kind of wonky there because my apostrophes turned into that ampersand pound 039 thing. But anyway, I just say, hey, hi there. I'm a single guy who likes to have a bit of fun, like to dance, go to the beach, enjoy intellectual conversation, play a bit of guitar, written a few songs. And then the real kicker, the last sentence there. I'm a huge fan of cats, and any girl who wants me will have to accept my kitties. And, I put that in there, really kind of see if it would eliminate a lot of responses, because cats, cats are animals that people have strong emotions about. Either they love them or they hate them. And, and there are a lot of people in the world who have an irrational hatred of cats. So I figured that would maybe cut down the responses a little bit, right? And of course, I uploaded my profile picture. And yeah, you can see there, I'm losing my hair, going bald. I look like either an aging hippie or like a skinny version of Richard Stallman. I don't know which. Take your pick there. But still, that's me. That's my profile pic. So after doing that, you got to look for the red flags. And so we'll go back to here. And something I did not point out when we looked at this page before, because it's something that does not show up the very first time you come to this page. It's over here under My Statistics. 349 messages, 102 emails, 372 profile visitors, 9 added me to favorites, 147 who liked me. Now, this is only after just a very few days of having an active profile. I hate to tell you guys, but a truly legitimate dating site is not going to yield those types of results that quickly. Okay? I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Okay, so that's the first red flag. And then here's an example of, some of the messages you get. So this lady here, Mariana, 30 years old, lives in Lviv, Ukraine. Lviv. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't speak Ukrainian, But anyway, so they're sending these messages, and you can see there that this girl is rather intent on me answering. So how do you usually understand whether a woman deserves to get happiness with you? Well, honestly, I haven't a clue, but that's probably one of the reasons I'm a lifelong bachelor. And then the second message, I'm looking for a husband, friend, and lover. You want to be? And then finally, 15 hours before I took the screenshot, when I should have been in bed, have you already woken up? So that's another thing too. And a lot of these girls, this is actually not the worst of the messages. You can go in here and you look at a lot of these messages that they're sending me, and some of them sound fairly sane, but some of them sound absolutely desperate. They just want me so bad that they can hardly stand it, right? And so here's one from Marita, and I actually did start a dialogue with her, right? Now, and yeah, it costs some money. Okay, but, for the sake of research, why not? I spent a little bit of money just to see, where this would go, right? So, hello, I read your profile carefully, and I think that we can be a nice couple. I'm already mature, ready for marriage, and the main thing, I don't afraid to move. I don't afraid, okay? And so on and so forth, right? And, of course, she speaks fluent German, good English, and has been in the capital of Ukraine for 11 years, works as a journalist at the Women's Magazine and television. And so, like I say, it costs you money to have to respond to these girls. Now, first couple messages, it's not so bad, because that first message you send, it only takes 10 credits, okay? So, and that's what you do. You buy credits, and everything you do on here costs a certain amount of credits. So the first message that you send, it's only 10 credits. The second message that you send, it's 30 credits. And so to buy more credits, you buy 50 credits is the smallest amount you can buy. That's $20, right? So essentially, you've got some credits left over, right, after you send one message, but you don't have enough for another message. So you got to buy more credits, right? Unless, of course, you go and buy the bulk purchase. You can go down here and pay $149.99 for 750 credits. But still, that's going to run out, after a while. That's getting expensive. And you can imagine if you're trying to get to know a girl and you're communicating this way over a period of a few months, it's going to get really, really, really expensive. And then on top of that, you can also purchase gifts for the girl. And I haven't even looked into how much that costs. I'm afraid to, right? But you can buy gifts for whatever else, right? So there are all kinds of ways to spend money here on this site. But then I started wondering, well, why is it that all of these totally hot-looking girls are looking for husbands outside of Ukraine? Is it so bad in Ukraine? Is the whole country of Ukraine so bad as far as dating goes that these girls cannot find a decent guy in Ukraine? So I happen to remember that one of my Facebook friends is a U.S. citizen who's living in Odessa, Ukraine, as an expatriate. And he's there for really two reasons. He's For one thing, he likes to promote the sport of baseball in Ukraine, good old American baseball, and plus he just likes it there better than in the United States anyway. So he's been there for like 15 years, so he knows his way around, the Ukrainian culture and all that, right? So I sent him this message to say, what's the dating situation in Ukraine like? And I told him, I said, look, I just don't understand why these totally hot-looking chicks are wanting to get a guy outside of the country. I mean, can they not find a guy in Ukraine or what? So here's his response, and yeah, there's a lot to read there, and it's a little bit difficult to read because it looks like he might have done some voice dictation into a smartphone, so it didn't really come out there totally grammatically correct. But in a nutshell, what he's saying here, well, first, you look over here, okay, right there in the middle. He says, I've known several women who have been involved in this activity. So he personally knows girls who have been involved with these agencies. So having said that, just to give the guy a little bit of believability here, he goes on to say, these letters are not written by the girl that you think you're communicating with. They're written by an employee of the agency. So the girls allow their photos to be used in the profiles and all that, and then in return they get a percentage of the money that the agency receives from the guys who think they're communicating with the girl. And then the gifts you buy are overpriced and they're used over and over again. So basically what happens is that you might have a girl who's really popular, her birthday comes up, and so a whole bunch of guys will pay to buy her flowers. But each one of those guys thinks that he's the only one who's doing it. And so the girl then takes those flowers, she'll get called to the agency, and she'll pose for pictures with those flowers. And then the same picture will get sent to all these guys, and all these guys will think that he is the only one who is receiving this response back. Each one thinks that he's the only one who sent her these flowers. And then on top of that, the flowers then will get passed off to the next girl who will pose for a picture for all of the guys that bought her flowers. So yeah, and it says down here, down at the bottom, it says it's a racket, right? And then up here at the top, he goes on to say that it's very rare for the man to ever come to the girl's city to meet her. But if he does, she's supposed to come for the meeting and not speak English because the agency people don't want her to say anything that might contradict with what the agency employees wrote in the girl's letter. And then he says, well, some of the girls are married and at least have boyfriends. And then he does go on to say, some women are legit, but most of them are not. And then he goes on to say, on a personal note, he just discovered that his girlfriend in Odessa has been out of the country twice, meeting a guy that she met through an agency that she secretly signed up with. And she jumped in the sack with him, and after this, she wants their relationship to continue. Okay, so yeah, right. Okay, so then I did in one of my messages propose to the girl that we start communicating via regular email, and she did not respond to that at all, right? And that was before I saw that thing there about having to verify my ID, about having to photocopy my identification documents and all that to send in to them, and but she did not tell me that. Now, if it would have been if I'd been actually communicating with the girl, if everything would have been legit, I think she would have told me right then, said, look, you need to go ahead and do this first, right? But she did not. Okay, that's not what happened. And I think the reason it did not happen is because they wanted me to continue paying, to communicate through the agency. And then even if I could have been dealing with her directly, the guy down here says, hey, these agencies can and do create email accounts in the girl's name and still write in the same way as before. So anyway, international bride sites. They sound like a great thing. You go to their sites and it looks really great, right? But guys, it's a scam. Don't fall for the scam, all right? And again, this is referred to as securing the human, and this is just one of the many aspects that we have to deal with when we're training employees to not fall for scams, to not allow themselves to be taken advantage of online, okay? So anyway, I do believe that is all for this video. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. And guys, if you just came here, for the bridal site, the rest of the site is pretty much on Linux. So yeah, you might like it, you might not, but yeah, check it out anyway. If you're into Linux, definitely check it out. So anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.